So, moral of the story is don't be like me. Hello, fellow doodlers. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. And if you're a first time cutie, welcome. Being here means you love art and yappuccinos, to which I'd say you're in the right place. Because today we are talking a lot, but more specifically about a drawing I worked on studying the perpetual relationship between the forces of light and the forces of evil. Nah, I'm just playing. What I really mean are the forces of dark. Because dark and light are like two sides of the same coin. You can never really have one without the other. And this concept really reminds me of a saying I once heard that goes kind of something like this. Just like how a fish never realizes the presence of water until it's taken away, a person doesn't truly understand joy until it's taken away. Which, in a nutshell, means you gotta have both to appreciate either or. So, on my quest of appreciating the forces of light and dark, I turned to my trusty Pinterest to figure out what the heck I was going to draw as a study of light and dark in an attempt to make it all make sense. Which is when I came upon this image of a reclined, wildly spicy guy with the light hitting him in a way that just spoke to me. And so, as you can guess, he became the chosen one that I was gonna draw. As per the usual, I started out with a rough sketch of the subject, which is what you've been seeing so far. I don't know if you noticed before, but I was having a real nipsident. So we have a nice rough sketch done before I go in again with a heavier line quality to outline and sketch out the details. Then came the painful realization that I did not draw the outline on a different layer. No! What that meant is I was stuck erasing my rough sketch lines like a noob. I even had to completely erase parts of the hair and redraw it. So, moral of the story is don't be like me. And make sure you draw your outlines in a separate layer from your rough sketch layer. Unless you want to join me on the scenic route and add erasing to your digital art process as well. Or maybe you already have, which means you and I are friends because friends suffer together and misery likes company. So yeah, the next little bit is just me enjoying the consequences of taking the scenic route. Drawing hands always makes me want to throw hands because there's always something just a little off about them whenever I draw them. However, this time the hands were actually okay, but I ended up drawing the arms way too long and I couldn't do my boy dirty like that, so using the selection lasso tool, I successfully performed a forearm shortening procedure and he is now recovered as a dude with a regular length arm. How did I notice that, you may ask? It was only after looking at the proportion between the shoulder to the elbow and the elbow to the wrist that I realized that man's resembled a beautiful orangutan. But fear not, because the selection lasso tool saved the day. And there's no shame in using the tools available to you in digital art. That's the beauty of digital art, in my opinion, how forgiving it is, because sometimes, just like in life, happens and then we fix it. In this case, we lasso tool it. And I was chatting so much I almost missed out on talking about my favorite part, rendering. This time I was trying a watercolor brush called Penguin because I like the name because penguins are cute. So I went in and blocked out the basic shadows before proceeding to have a mini meltdown because your girl couldn't decide which brush to use to block out the forces of light. And so after much deliberation and back and forth, I decided to undo everything and just focus on another part of the drawing. I decided it was for later me to figure out. Was I procrastinating and running away from my problems? Absolutely. But sometimes you just gotta give up in the moment and try another time, which is what I did. Instead, I focused on what I could do, which was darkening the areas where light and dark intersected. Because if you look closely at any strongly lit object or person, if you look close enough, you'll notice that the area right where the light and dark meet is oftentimes the darkest. And I did the Googling, so you didn't have to. So apparently our eyes do this thing where it exaggerates the contrast at boundaries between bright and dark areas through a processing feature called lateral inhibition. And this helps us have a better sense of shapes and edges by increasing definition in what we see. So essentially, by darkening the areas where light transitions to dark, it adds more dimension to the artwork and it elevates it unconsciously. Well, now consciously, now that I've explained it. I bet you didn't know that neat little nugget of wisdom now, did ya? Well, let me know in the comments if you did, if you're just a little brainiac, and if you know any other fun facts related to art. I think it's always so interesting learning the science behind concepts I only understood intuitively. It's like a very validating experience and really tickles my brain. So yeah, send the fun facts my way. And the next little bits are basically me going in and shading the darker areas of the drawing, followed by me lightening certain areas where the light indirectly hit. Here lasso tool is once again saving the day. I've selected the area for the wall so that I could render within the boundaries and not worry about erasing, because I've done enough of that today. After rendering the wall, I started cleaning up some of the areas that I rendered outside of the lines. Maybe some food for thought for next time is I should have had the same process of creating a selection before rendering so that the erasing part stops haunting me. I really dislike erasing. So yeah, definitely more room for improvement, as always. Now I'm adding more depth to the rendering by emphasizing some of the light and darker areas. When I got to this point of the rendering, I really needed to trust the process because something seemed off to me about the very contrasting values here, and then I realized that all I really needed was to fill in the bed he was leaning on, and then everything looked so much better in comparison. And then I did the unthinkable. I forgot to record the last part of this drawing. No! So you'll just have to use your imagination to imagine how the bed sheets got from point A to point B. But here's the final result. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and please share any fun facts you might know about all things artsy science. If you want to make sure you get your weekly dose of yappuccino, make sure to click that button. You know what button I'm talking about. But for now, I'll chat you next time.